The maritime transport industry is facing increasing pressure to reach net zero greenhouse emissions, and the World Bank is charting the course for decarbonizing maritime transport with the release of two technical reports to help policymakers and industry stakeholders. For a closer look, Andrew Losos, one of the authors of the reports, joins us now, and Mr. Losos is a senior transport specialist at the World Bank and clearly know everything about the maritime industry. So help us understand, how is the sector adding to greenhouse emissions?
Well, all of the ships that carry our trade goods around the world are burning fossil fuels, so they're emitting greenhouse gases all the time. And altogether, the ships themselves emit a little less than 3% of the greenhouse gases worldwide. If you took it as a country, international shipping would be the sixth largest emitter in the world, with emissions just below Japan in fifth place and just above Germany in seventh place. The shipping sector accounts for almost 10% of transport-related greenhouse gas emissions worldwide, but at the same time, 80% of the world's trade volume travels by sea, so it's a vital economic sector. Maritime transport has come under increased pressure in recent years to lower and ultimately eliminate its contributions to global greenhouse gas emissions. Decarbonizing shipping certainly does present a challenge on many fronts: political, regulatory, technological, and financial, but it also presents an enormous business and development opportunity, including for developing and emerging economies. For instance, building renewable energy supply chains to produce the green ammonia and green hydrogen that we believe will be the most promising zero carbon fuels of the future will allow many more countries really to become suppliers of future zero carbon shipping fuels. And this is a process which will make today's bunker fuel market both more sustainable and more inclusive, as countries that don't have oil reserves but may have greater renewable energy reserves can begin to enter.
And how far along would you say the maritime industry is in achieving decarbonisation? Still early days?
Yes, these are still early days. Because of its international nature, shipping has so far not explicitly been included in any of the global climate change agreements or targets like the Paris Agreement, meaning that it hasn't advanced as much as some other sectors and industries such as energy. But maritime transport has come under increased pressure. It's a challenge on many fronts, but it is really an opportunity that can be seized both by the countries and by the industry. There are many players in the global shipping industry that are already taking the fore on reducing the climate impact from ships. There's the Getting to Zero Coalition and industry group, which the World Bank is proud to support. The financial industry that finances shipping has come out with something called the Poseidon Principles about sustainability and climate change. And for charterers whose cargoes are moved by these vessels around the world, there is the Sea Cargo Charter, which is a similar initiative, statement of principles to try to impose certain sustainability standards on the industry. Now, the shipping industry is not monolithic, of course, and there's always healthy disagreement on which exact technologies and fuel sources will drive the sector into the future. There's still uncertainty around the regulatory measures that will set the rules by which the energy transition in shipping will occur. These are some of the reasons why we wrote this series of reports that we've launched recently, to help shed light on the most promising options to bring emissions from shipping down to zero, to inform that debate and to help drive towards practical solutions.
So in your technical reports, then, what are those key recommendations put forward by your team?
First of all, we think, I said it earlier, but we think that green ammonia and green hydrogen produced from renewable energy sources will be the most promising zero carbon fuels to drive the shipping sector into its future energy regime. But our concrete recommendations: first, we suggest that countries can make strategic policies to drive this energy transition. Internationally, this includes most notably the introduction of a meaningful carbon price on bunker fuels. But at the national and regional level, governments can develop industrial hydrogen strategies. They can provide financial support to pilot and demonstrator projects, of which there are ever more in the world today of a greater and greater scale. So those are important actions that governments can take. And second, we recommend that policymakers always consider emissions across the full life cycle of any low or zero carbon fuel. In that light, and given the other risks identified, we think that public policy support for LNG as a bunker fuel, liquid natural gas, should be avoided. Existing policy support should be reconsidered, and methane emissions should be regulated. Third, while more and more industry stakeholders are becoming increasingly vocal about their favored zero carbon shipping solutions, we urge business to also implement what we call no regret options. These would include increased energy efficiency and maximum fuel flexibility, and will ultimately benefit any kind of future bunker fuels. And finally, we encourage industry stakeholders to actively join the policy discussion, because their constructive support will help to increase certainty on the availability, the pricing, the timing of zero carbon bunker fuels, not only to their own benefit, but that of the entire sector.
Thanks very much for your time, Andrew Losos, the Senior Transport Specialist at the World Bank.